My name is Alex, and I've been driving a semi-truck for 12 years. Those who think our job is just spinning the wheel and listening to the radio know nothing about the highway after 2 a.m., when the asphalt ahead begins to slick with fog, and your headlights catch only the silhouettes of trees. The road turns into a completely different world, a world with its own dark laws. This happened to me about 3 years ago on a deserted 20-mile stretch of an old highway near the mountains. It was November, and the cold rain was turning into sleet. I was hauling a valuable cargo-expensive antique furniture in a sealed trailer. The dispatcher explicitly warned me, "Alex, take the new bypass." But I decided to take a shortcut through the old route to save 2 hours and get home for the weekend. It was the worst decision of my life. Somewhere around the 7th mile, the radio started to static and then went completely dead. Even my USB drive threw an error and shut off. A heavy, unnatural silence filled the cabin, broken only by the rhythmic, monotonous thud of the windshield wipers. Suddenly, in my rearview mirror, I noticed a pair of headlights. Someone was catching up to me fast. A minute later, a massive, pitch-black vintage truck aggressively tailed my trailer. His high beams were so blinding, I could barely see anything. I flicked my blinker and hugged the shoulder, signaling, "Go ahead, buddy, pass me." But he didn't. He just kept a distance of 1 yard from my bumper, as if towed by an invisible chain. I stepped on the gas. My engine roared and my speed climbed 50, 60, 70 miles per hour, which was the absolute limit for a broken night road. The black truck behind didn't lose an inch. And that's when I noticed the most terrifying detail. There was no driver in the cabin. The windshield was completely black, as if painted over with coal dot. My heart was pounding in my throat. I realized this wasn't just a reckless driver. Suddenly, my radar detector started beeping frantically, even though there were no speed cameras on this remote road. At the same time, the CB radio, which had been silent, let out a heavy, raspy breath. "Slow down, Alex." A strange, distorted voice cut through the static. "Slow down, you're hauling the wrong cargo." I screamed into the radio, asking who it was, but the only answer was a chilling laugh that turned into a metallic screech. The black semi pulled out to pass me. It drew level with my cabin. Its trailer was rusted and twisted, looking like it had survived a horrific fatal crash. It began to slide into my lane, trying to ram my cabin off the road and down into the deep, dark woods. I slammed on the horn, the blare echoing through the night, but the phantom truck didn't stop. The metal side of its trailer was already scraping my left mirror. Sparks flew. Ahead, right after a bridge, was a sharp, dangerous curve with a cliff. If I didn't brake, we would both fly off. But if I stopped, it would trap me here in the middle of nowhere. And then I remembered the words of an old, veteran driver. If you see the devil on the road, floor it and don't look him in the eye. I closed my eyes, held my breath, and instead of hitting the brakes, I slammed the gas pedal to the floor, gripping the steering wheel with a death clutch. There was a deafening roar, and my cabin shook so violently I almost hit the windshield. But a second later, everything went dead quiet. There was no one behind me, just an empty, snowy night highway in my mirrors. I pulled into a truck stop on the main interstate, drenched in cold sweat. I jumped out to check the left side of my truck, There wasn't a single scratch. Clean metal. But when I unlocked and opened the trailer doors to check the cargo, one of the heavy antique wardrobes was completely smashed to pieces, as if struck by a sledgehammer from the inside. Since that night, I never take shortcuts. And if I see strange, blinding headlights behind me in the dark, I just flip on my hazard lights and whisper a driver's prayer, because the road remembers everyone who never made it back.